Okay.
Please go
So
ahead.
let's get Nilesh.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So hi everyone. So I'm Sai Chandan. I'm from Shell Code. So to get started on the AWS side, let me just quickly share my screen, and I'll give you a walkthrough on that. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, fine. So, starting with, I'll start with the basics. Okay, so on the EC2 instance. So, EC2 is one of the AWS service that is available where you can create. Uh, can someone go on mute? I think someone's talking. Okay, so yeah, this it is one of the AWS service available where you can deploy your applications. Okay, so you can create a server over here, or if you want to create, you're planning to deploy an LLM model with GPU instances or with normal CPUs, you can use EC2 instance here where you can create servers and deploy your applications. Okay, so this is on the EC2 part where I'll just show you. You can just click on launch instance, okay, and give a name. Okay, and you can select any of your OS if you want Amazon Linux or Mac or Ubuntu. Preferably you can go with Amazon Linux and your any AMIs that you want to select, or if you're going with some ML model you can look for deep learning AMIs. Okay, or if it's a normal without any ML models, you can just select a normal Amazon Linux kernel 6.1. This suffices with running your applications. And here is your instance type. So basically this type is your server instance where your T2 micro or T2 small, these are your small instances where example you're planning to run a very small application that doesn't need a huge load, too much traffic, a very basic small application like 10 15 users wants to use it or test it around. So you can try something on the T-lang families. So you have T2, T3, and there is C6. So depending on your use case or traffic usage and things like that, you can select your instance type. So this plays a very important role when you're planning to create a server. Okay, so this is on the instance types. So post that, you have a key pair. So key pair is basically if you want to connect your server through your system from your terminal, say example. So you can create this key value pair, which is your PEM file. Using that you will be able to connect. So there's another option available through the console, which I will show you post this one. So through that you will be able to connect your server. Okay, and then comes your networkings where you want to restrict certain IPs or be public for your traffic or open any ports. So all of these things can be handled through your networking settings. Okay, and then comes your storage. See how much of your storage is needed. You want to have 50 GB, or by default it comes with it comes with 8 GB. Then post that if you want to increase it, you can increase it. And once you've created the instance, later also you will be able to increase it. It's not like you will have to provide your storage at the start of the creation itself. This can be editable even after you've created the instance. Okay, so once you've created the instance, you will be able to view it here. Okay, and then like I was mentioning, there is one option directly connecting it through the console. So you can just select that. You will be able to see all the configurations, everything that is available. And this is your public IP address. So to access your server, you will be using this IP address. Okay, and then you have this option here, connect. So once you've selected your server, you can just click on here and you can go to session manager. So once you go to session manager and click connect, you will be able to connect to your server. So if I've deployed some applications. So here you can just run your applications and see play around with the server part here. Okay, so this is on the EC2 part. Okay, and on the EC2, you guys have any clarifications? I'll not go quite too deep inside it, because there's too many things coming inside that. So to get started, at least this will be sufficient for you.
And you also provide certain links specific to EC2, specific to S3, or whatever you are trying to explain, the help or any video documentation available. If that is handy available to you now, or even later, you can pass it on that this particular video or tutorial is for EC2 or this is for S3. Then I can pass it on to the team members so that they can refer it later as well, Sai.
Yeah, Neelesh. So the idea is, see, whatever is relevant to deploy these GenAI applications, that's I will cover right now. And these references we will share it separately. So Saujanya will share those separately. I'll speak to her and we can get that because they'll have access to it. So I'll make sure that is there. Post this call, we can share. So right now, only the main focus is GenAI, right? So the focus. So we'll look at what are the relevant modules for that, and we'll take them through that. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Gen AI is the focus, but again, as I mentioned, lots of people are students and also just basics of EC2, basics
Yeah,
of S3, and then we can go into the model. Yes.
yeah, sure.
Okay, so now moving on to S3. So S3 is like your cloud storage, where say suppose you are trying to build an application which needs to be trained with certain data, and you want to upload PDFs, docs, all of this you want to store it somewhere. So that is where your Amazon S3 comes into picture, where you can store all the data related to your application. So you can just go click on create bucket, and you can give a name to your bucket. You can go with general purpose for now. Okay, so you can just give a bucket name, and this is basically to block public access. So this is usually a standard practice, so that your bucket is not publicly available. Okay, but in certain cases, if there is actually a need, you can enable public access for your S3 buckets, and you want to have bucket versioning done and things like that. Okay, so this is your default encryption. So all the data that you are uploading to your bucket keeps your data encrypted. So this is your storage system. This is very simple, straightforward. You just have to create a bucket, and then once you go inside that, you can upload all the files that is required.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have a question. Can I ask now?
Yeah, sure.
Is there any, a data limit for storage?
No, there
Is
is
there any
no.
limit?
No, there is no such limit as that, because it is cloud storage. So you can upload as much data as you want.
Thank you.
But this will be only for 3 days because of the hackathon. So you can utilize as much as you possible, but only for 3 days. After that, the instances will be deleted and your data will be lost.
Okay. Any questions on that, or I'll move with the main part, which is the bedrock.
Any other services that you would want to know about? Typically, what we look at is a VM where we build our application and a storage. And also maybe one of the databases you may want to walk through, say either DynamoDB or RDS or like an SQL database. So that will be helpful. And then you can go on to the GenAI part of it. One of the databases, either DynamoDB or SQL will be good. RDS will be good.
Okay. I'll take the DynamoDB part, because this is much easy to
So
manage.
DynamoDB is a NoSQL DB, guys. It is not your standard SQL DB. It is a NoSQL DB, and of course has its own pros and cons. And you also will have an RDS, which is relational database system, which also you can use Aurora DB. Aurora DB is your standard SQL, and DynamoDB is NoSQL. Go ahead, Sai.
Okay, so like, yeah, so now, like Nilesh was mentioning, this is NoSQL. So this is pretty straightforward to create your tables in DynamoDB. So you can just go to tables over here and just click on create table and give it a name. And you want to have some partition key or sort key. Partition key, like typically you can say a primary key that you want. So with partition key, you want to filter it out, sort it out, like that. You can provide these partition keys here, and then these are your default table settings you want to give. So with this, your table, you can start creating it. And then if you want, I'll just show you a data that I currently have. So once you go to the doctor tape appointment, this is something that I've created for my testing purpose. So here you can see my partition key is appointment ID, capacities, on demand, read write capacity. So these are things that you can configure over here. Okay, and my indexes, if you want to create a global index and things like that, you can provide it over here. Okay, and if you go to explore items here, this is where you can view your data. So I'll just run a small one. Currently there is no data available in this. So explore items is where you will be able to view all your data here. So if you can just run a query, if you have uploaded some certain data or ingested anything, so all of those things will be available over here. Okay, so yeah, now moving on to Bedrock. So
Yeah,
this is
give some background about Bedrock, why a Bedrock has to be used as well, Sai. What is the need of a Bedrock? What if we can we build without Bedrock? Just give that background and then. So, guys, if you are building a simple web application and you don't need a Gen AI or AI thing, you don't need a Bedrock. But if you are building an application with using Gen AI, Bedrock is a place all the models will be there. Just giving that context before. Yeah.
Yeah, so Bedrock is basically, you can call it as a GenAI service of AWS, like how we have OpenAI, ChatGPT models are available via OpenAI, right? So typically for AWS, we have something called Bedrock. So if you want to create any applications or connect to LLM models, so I'm sure you would have heard about Claude, Anthropics, GPT models, or something like that. So all these models, I mean, not GPT, but there are Claude models or Meta models. Such things are directly available through your Bedrock. So the reason you need to use Bedrock is because there is more security from Bedrock side. Because if you see Meta models or all these open source models, they're directly accessible, but there might be a problem with your security data. So there are chances that whatever data you ingest or something, that can be directly used sometimes to train your main models. So if you are using it through Bedrock, so all the data that you are using or trying to ingest or creating embeddings out of it, that stays inside your AWS ecosystem. That does not go outside of your VPC. Okay, so this is how your Bedrock console looks like. So this is completely serverless. Okay, so if you scroll down and look at your model access, here you can see all the LLM models that are available to use. So starting with, there's AI 21 labs, then there's Amazon's in-house models, which is your Titan, Nova models, and then there's Anthropic, Cohere models. Cohere models are usually used for your creating of embeddings. And then there's DeepSeek also available, and these are your meta models. Mistral. Mistral is more on the image models. Okay, and then recently they have come up with 12 labs. So 12 labs is one embedding model where you can create embeddings using for embeddings for your voice or audios, video, all these things you can create embeddings. So these are the basically all the models that you can access via.
There is a question, Sai. I will read out for you. I assume that you are sharing the screen, so you cannot see the questions.
Yeah.
The question is, can these models be accessed using the API that I see in the screen now? It is a question from Surya.
Yes, you can use it via API. I'll come to that post this. Once I'll give you a console level walkthrough how you can play around and things. So post that, I'll let you know how you can actually use APIs to work with this. I hope that solves the question.
Yeah, you have just parked it for now, so you said you will answer it later. Fine, no issues.
Yes. Okay. Cool. And yeah, one more point. So now these are basically your serverless models. So if you want to use any open source models available, then you might have to deploy that in either SageMaker, that is one of the AWS service available, or your EC2, which I gave you a walkthrough previously. So you will have to deploy these models in these two AWS services, but that again comes at a very high price because you will have to use GPUs over there. So that is the reason why you can go with Bedrock here, which is completely serverless. And this is pay as you go. It is on demand. It's not like it runs every time. Okay, so yeah, this is on the model access. So if you want to, if there's any model that doesn't have access, say it's asking for available for request, so this is still not enabled here. So what you can do is you can go to model access here, click on modify, and then you can select which model you want to access for. I think for your workshop, models will already be enabled for you. Okay, model will not be enabled for you, so you will have to go here and enable whatever models you will need to use. Okay, so you can just select, click on next. Okay, I've selected all the models, so that's right now. So basically, whichever model you want, you can just click on select and go to next. Okay, it will take like 5 to 10 minutes for it to enable. So you can just refresh and check in some time. So once it's available, access, once you see the status as access granted, then you will be able to use this. Okay, so this is on the model access part. To quickly just test it out, what you can do is you can go to the test part here. So you can see chat slash text playground or image slash video playground, right? So if you go to text here, when you click on select model, these are the models, text based models that is available. Okay, so there's AI 21 labs, then there's Amazon Nova. These are the in-house AWS models that is built, and then you have Anthropic, Cohere, DeepSeek. So you can select any model here. For example, I'll just take
You may also want to tell about the region to be selected for this model, because by default, I'm not sure which region that will be opening up. So you may want to just tell them what region we should select so that these models will be visible, because some of the models are not visible in the India region, Sai.
yeah, sure. But yeah, I have a question here. Like, I need to check on the workshop side. So, which region will be provided?
Saujanya said it will be US region only, United States. So just show them where it is. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, if it's US East one, then once you log into your AWS console, right, in the top right corner, you will have an option like this as a drop down where you can see regions that are available. So for your workshop, you will be having access for US East one. So make sure that you are selected for US East one. Okay. So once you select this, then you can go to your model access. Few models are not available in Mumbai region because of any models that newly gets launched, it will be available in US East one. So that's the reason we have also provided all the access for US East one. Okay, so this depends, say for customers who are into fintech where they have some PII data that doesn't want them to go out of their region. So in that cases, they might choose a Mumbai region. So based on that, you will be able to access them. Okay, so for your workshop, like mentioned, it will be US East one.
There is another question saying that GPT-4 Gemini models will also be available or not.
No, GPT-4 models are not available because that is of OpenAI, and Gemini models is from GCP. So that will not be available in our AWS
Gemini
ecosystem.
also will not be there, and GPTs also will not be there.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So moving on, there is, like I mentioned, you can quickly, if you want to test it out something, you can go to your chat slash text playground here, and you can just select a model. Okay. I will just select Anthropic and Claude Q3 I will select. So once you select a model, accordingly you will have all these configurations. Okay, what do you want to give a system prompt, max tokens? Every model will have certain token limit. Okay, so based on that, you can select what is the maximum output tokens you want, randomness. If you want to have guardrails, I'll come to the guardrails part, but just keep a note on this. Okay, and if you want to like test it out, you can quickly try around here. Hi. Okay, so this is on model testing part. So you can play around with different models here. These are all text based. Similarly, if you want to check on the image or videos, okay, so that you can go here, select models here. So these are the models that are mainly focused on your image and videos. So you can use Nova Reels, Nova Canvas, or Titan models, which you can try around to generate images or videos. So these are more focused on image and video models. So this is how you can just start by trying out here. Okay. Sorry. So this is like a basic testing that you can try out from here. Okay, so if you guys have any queries, we can check on that, or I'll move on to the main part on building. Okay, I will take that as a no. So starting with, I'll quickly go into knowledge base. Okay, so basically knowledge base is like a RAG application. So I'm sure if is there anyone who has not heard about RAG? Okay, so I'll give a basic overview on that. So basically, RAG applications are like your, it's basically, it's called retrieve and generate. So what RAG means is, if you want to create a chatbot or an application where you have certain data like documents, PDFs, or Excel sheets that you want to ingest into a chatbot and you want to query it. Okay, say there is, I'll take an example of a HR bot. Okay, so there will be some policies where how to apply for a leave, or how many leave, what are the leave policies, and how do I mark my attendance, etc. So these are available in form of certain documents. Okay, so say you are planning to create a chatbot application for a HR use case. Okay, so what you can do is you can make use of knowledge base here and ingest all the data that is available. With that, you can create a straight RAG application with this. Okay, so how you can do is you can upload all your documents to S3, and then from S3 you can create a knowledge base and connect it to your S3 bucket. So how it does, it will take all the data from your S3 bucket and it will ingest and create embeddings. So I'll show you a quick overview on how that can be done. Okay, so you can go to click create here. You can select knowledge base with vector store. Okay, so once you see this, you have all the knowledge base details, source type. So if you want, like I mentioned on the documents part, you can just select Amazon S3 where you would have created certain buckets and uploaded all the documents. Or you want to have a web scraping done, say there are certain websites that you want to scrap and get information from, so then you can go with web crawler. Similarly, you can also have Confluence. This is one software application available, and then Salesforce or SharePoint. So based on the use case, you can select a source type here. For now, I'll go with Amazon S3. Okay, and then I'll go to next. This is where I will point my S3 bucket. Okay, so when you go to browse S3, so I would have created one S3 bucket here where I would upload all my documents here. So I'll select that and choose. So this is how you connect your S3 with your knowledge base. Okay, and then these are certain features available: Amazon Bedrock default parser, or data automation as a parser, or foundation model as a parser. So this comes into picture where you have certain documents that is too complex, where there is images or tables, or too many complex diagrams, graphs available. So in that case, you can go with something called foundation model parser, where model these LLM models scrap all those data, try to understand, and then create embeddings. Or if you have a straightforward text documents, you can just directly go with the default settings. Okay, and then click on next. Here is your embedding model. So this is the main part here. So this is to, you will be selecting certain LLM models that will actually take the documents and create embeddings out of it. So currently we have from Amazon Titan text embeddings, V2 and G1, and we have Cohere model. So Cohere model is of two types available. One is English and multilingual embedding. So if you want your chatbot to be multilingual, understand the data in multiple languages, but you have documents of English, right? So that time you can actually make use of these multilingual embedding models. Okay, so based on your use case, you can select these embedding models and click on apply. Okay, and then you have your vector store. So vector store is basically your database. So say all the embeddings that is created through your embedding model, this has to be stored somewhere. So basically that is where your vector store comes into picture. So the flow, how it goes is, it will first take all the data available in your S3 bucket. By using this embedding model, it will create the embeddings and then store it in your vector store. So basically this has to be a vector store. You cannot store it in your regular database. um, is someone asking something? Okay, so yeah, so this is the vector store. So if you go to vector store, you have a drop down. These are the available vector DBs that you can use. Okay, one is your OpenSearch serverless, and then recently launched Amazon S3 vectors. So the S3 bucket which I was showing you, they have come up with a new feature where they accept vectors. Okay, and you have Amazon Aurora Postgres, this is your PG vector, and then there's Neptune, which is for GraphRag. Okay, so based on your use case or requirement, you can select a vector store. For now, I'll go ahead with Amazon
Yeah,
Open.
just want to
Yes.
take a little. Can you go back to that list of searches, a list of vector stores? I just wanted to make sure the people have understanding and it is not just going above their knowledge base. So, guys, just wanted to give a little. Again, he has very nicely explained by Sai, but still wanted to tell you that if you would want to use Gen AI, generated AI, so he spoke about a concept named as RAG model, retriever generation thing. And whenever you are trying to, for example, if there is one PDF, you would want to talk to the PDF. Can you talk to the PDF without Gen AI at this point of time? Yes, it is possible, but a lot of code has to be written for that one, and then it will not be 100%. But with Gen AI, just uploading it to a model, whatever model that you would want, and then talking to it. But what happens behind the scenes is it extracts all the data, converts into like chunks. Chunks means small parts, and then puts into embeddings, and that embeddings are stored in a vector store. Vector store is like similar to your any kind of a database like SQL or NoSQL, but a different kind of a database where only embeddings like a huge dimensional numbers will be there in that one. So that is what is vector store, and there are different types of vector store he's showing. One is the serverless, one is for S3, one is for PostgreSQL, one is for the GraphDB. So different vector stores are there. So from here is where when you ask saying that I want to know this particular information from this PDF. So this whatever you are typing that and the data which is stored in the vector store, the similarity search will be done. Like whichever the word, this word and the word which is there in the database, it will try to find out which is the nearest one and it will retrieve that and then it will show it to you. So this is a process that happens behind the scenes. It's a very interesting process. You can read more about it later, but there are different types of vector stores he is talking about. Go ahead, Sai.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, like Nilesh was explaining, so I'll just select Amazon OpenSearch for now and click on next. So this gives you a confirmation where what is the knowledge base details, data source that you have selected, embedding models, vector stores. You can just cross check and verify all of these things, and then you can go and click on create knowledge base. So once you have created the knowledge base, you can see something like this. Okay, so here you can see all of the knowledge base that you have created. So if you go inside any of the knowledge base, this is the knowledge base details and data source. So I have configured my S3 over here. So any data sources, S3 buckets or web scraping that you have configured here, all of that will be available over here. Okay, so how do you train is just select this one and click on sync. Okay, currently this is already synced. Okay, I'll show you something that is to be synced. Okay, so if you click on this, you will get this sync option. So if you click on this sync, what it happens in the background, it will first go to the S3 bucket that is configured here, and it will take all the documents and it will start creating the embeddings. So once the embeddings are created, it will go and store it in my vector db. So for now, like I mentioned, I have selected OpenSearch serverless, so all my vectors will be stored in my OpenSearch. So once the embedding is complete, you will get a status of available. So once that is done, you can go and you can click on test knowledge base. Okay, so how do you test the knowledge base? Is like this. Okay, okay.
Sai, can you show how the embeddings are stored in the DB? Can you see
uh,
that?
yeah, 1 minute. So if you go to open search here, you will see something called collections. So once you click on the collections here, you will see all the knowledge base collections that is created. So I think my screen is not visible. 1 minute.
Yes.
It is visible.
Oh, it's visible. Okay.
Collections, I was not able to see.
Yeah, sorry. Now I think it's visible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can see all the collections over here. So if you go to any knowledge base, you will see this dashboard URL. Okay, so just click on that. It will open to your open search dashboard. Okay, okay, I don't have permission for this. 1 minute, let me check if there's anything that I have permission for. Okay, I'll share that screenshot. Actually, I don't have permission to open this. So basically, how it will be, once you click on this dashboard, right, it will take you redirect to your open search dashboard. So there you have something called view tables. So once you click on that, all the embeddings that you have created, you will be able to view it from there. I'll ask someone in the meantime to share me the screenshot. So I'll show you that one. So typically it will be available through this open search dashboard. So similarly, if you're using PG vector or S3 vector, you can go there and you can connect to your database and you can view it from there. It will be for PG vectors, which is the Aurora. You can directly open the tables, connecting it to your PG admin. So from there, you will be able to view everything. Similarly, for S3 vectors, you can go to S3 buckets, and here you can see vector buckets. So from here, you can see all the vectors that is created. Okay, yeah, going back to Bedrock. Mm,
Team, anyone from the team leaders or team members, do you think this is, are you able to get it, or this is too much for your knowledge or your understanding, or you're getting partially? Give some sense of acknowledgement that you're getting it, or it's okay to say that maybe it's completely new. Okay. It's better to admit that it is completely new so that we can try and help you out with some more basic sessions than just listening to it. Yeah, even if it is new, Varun, are you able to understand? That is the question. Yes, Ravali, if it is new too, but are you able to understand is the question, right? If you're able to understand, fantastic. If you're not able to understand, that's where we need to see what else can be done to make you help understand. There's a little bit of self-learning is also required with the materials like what is GenAI, what is RAG, what are models, what is chunking, embedding, vector store. So please do a little bit of self-learning. Yeah. Sai, go ahead, please.
Okay, so once you have created the knowledge base, synced all the data, and once the status is available, to test it from the console side, you can click on test knowledge base here. Okay, so this is where the knowledge base configurations comes here. So you can just select a model that you want to use it for retrieving the data. Okay, so these are your text based models. So you can select, I have selected Claude 3 Sonnet V1. Okay, and I'll click on apply. So basically what this model does is, once you select, once you send a request, so based on that, it will, like Neelesh was explaining about the similarity search that it does from the vector DB, right? So that similarity search will be done with this model. So it will retrieve all the data, and this model uses the data to generate. So that is why it's like retrieve and generate. It will retrieve the data from your vector DB, all those embeddings, and based on the embeddings that it has got, it will generate a response. Okay, so that is why we need a model selection here. So I'll just type hello for now. Okay, so this is using Claude 3 Sonnet V1, and it is generating the response here. So similarly, you can check all these configurations, source chunks. So basically what source chunk is, when it is retrieving data from your vector DB, it will go check for top 5 sources. Okay, so basically 5 chunks is what it will be retrieving. So if you don't want 5, you want only 3 chunks to be retrieved, or you want only 2 chunks, so this is completely configurable. Okay, so this is the source chunk, and this is search type. So search type is, you have an option of hybrid search, which is both semantic and text based. So this is the hybrid model. Or if you don't want a text based search to be done, you just want a semantic search, then you can configure this. By default, it is always a hybrid search. Okay, and that is on the search tab. And then guardrails, like I said, I'll come to the guardrails once I finish the knowledge base. And then there is all these promptings. So you want to change the prompting here. So prompting plays an important role. So this is where the model actually tries to understand what kind of an application you are trying to build, or what is this about. So based on the prompting that you give, the model automatically understands, and it will try to query and generate certain data. Okay, so this is on the knowledge base part. So like one of them was asking, like, how do I use this as an API, right? So to use this as an API, you have something called Boto 3 APIs. Okay, let me search for it. Okay, so there is something called Boto3. These documentations will be shared to you across after post this call. So Boto3 is one of the Python package that is available, where this helps you connect to all your AWS services, not just your Bedrock, but all the AWS services. You can use Boto3 API. Okay, so one of the API of this is agent Bedrock agent runtime. Okay, so here if you see, there are a lot of endpoints available. So in that, one of them is your retrieve and generate. So this is the API that is used to connect to your knowledge base. Okay, so if you see the request body, there is input. This is where you will be passing your request. Okay, and then there is retrieve and generate configuration. So these are the configurations that you actually saw in the console side. I was mentioning about guardrails and max tokens options and prompt template, the configuration of the prompt template which I showed, and knowledge base configurations, the knowledge base ID, which model you want to use, etc. So things like that. This is where your request body is, where you will configure all the knowledge base settings. Okay, so once you have used this, the response is how you get. Okay, this is the response where you will see the citation. Citations is the source chunk that I was talking about. It will retrieve the chunks, as well as also provide you the final generated response along with the session ID. The session ID will be needed because to maintain the context, because if there is no session ID, then every request that you ask, it will be a very fresh request that is sent to your knowledge base. So typically take an example of a chatbot. So people will be asking a question one after the other. So to maintain the context, to maintain the history, is where your session ID comes into picture. So every request that you are sending, make sure you are passing the same session ID at the start of the conversation. Else the bot will not be able to understand the context. It will consider every request that you pass as a fresh request. So on this API part, documentation will be shared, but do you guys have any queries or anything that I missed, or you need more information about?
I think somebody was asking about whether this can be called via API. Is that clear how to call this particular model via API? You can unmute yourself and speak, no issues.
This is just direct connection, but to make it as a proper API and everything, you will have to put a wrapper around it, create some Python framework or a Flask API, create a REST API, and inside that you will have to call the Bluetooth. This helps you connect to your AWS knowledge base, but to create it as a proper API, you will have to put a wrapper around it.
So one small trick that I can suggest you guys is if this looks complex to you, which seems to be complex, it's complex for me and everybody as well. What you could do and what I have done, I will give an example. I have asked Cursor AI or a GitHub Copilot. I do not have access to Amazon Q. If I would have access, I would have done the same is saying that build me a web application with these things. Now in this web application, I want a chatbot, and that chatbot should understand all the content of my application, whatever documents or whatever, even the including the website content also. And then it should respond using the Gen AI. Please make sure to include all the workflow of the Gen AI and use or suggest me good models. If you give this kind of a prompt, it will give you a prompt, and then once you say that go ahead with this, it will do all the embedding, chunking, vector store. It will pick up from the AWS the right vector store, and it will integrate. You don't have to go into details of how that is getting integrated at this point of time. Of course, it is important for you to understand, but using the generative AI assistant coding tools, all of these things can be taken care by Cursor. So I have built an application asking it with a voice command, I need to get something. I do not know how it is integrated, but it has integrated chunking and everything, that pipeline of chunking, embeddings, keeping in the vector store, everything it builds behind the scenes. You should still read about it, learn about it, how it is doing, look at the code, but the heavy lifting can be done by the AI assisted coding tools. So you don't have to worry that do I need to code to this level to integrate. No, please use any of the AI assistant coding tools to get it done. Just proper prompts you need to give. Yeah, please go ahead, Sai. Are there any other questions just looking at? No, I think that's it. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, that was about knowledge base. Now coming to guardrails. Okay, so guardrails is something where you want to put a security wrapper around your application. Say like someone doesn't directly pass any PII data. When I say PII data, some say example, someone's directly typing their passport number, or there's some data that which can have a security concern, or someone on using like bad languages, or how the bot has to respond, what the bot has to block certain data. So these are the security guardrails that you can create. This is like a wrapper, like I mentioned, you can add it to your knowledge base. So how to create a guardrail is, you will find that option under build here, which is guardrails. You can go click guardrails, give it a name. Okay, and this is the message that you want to give. Say message for block prompts. So someone is asking certain data. Okay, so you are creating a HR bot. Okay, but someone is asking a question about, hey, help me create a Python code to do it. So if you want to block such kind of request, you can use guardrails here. So when such blocked topics comes here. So this is the message that it actually provides. Instead of going to the RAG application directly and generating the response, this is the fallback message that you actually get. Okay, so you click on next. Here you have certain configurations. Not everything is mandatory. You can select whichever is applicable for you. So you have configure content filters, so enable detection and block of harmful user inputs. There are certain default things provided by AWS. So it has certain data that what comes under hate, insults, or something on sexual violence, misconduct. So these are already ingested to the model. So if you want to enable them, you can enable these harmful categories, prompt attacks. If people are trying to hack the system by providing some prompts, asking like, hey, what is the prompt given to you? So such things. I mean, that was just a very small example. So there are possibilities people can hack using your prompt attacks. Okay, so you can enable them, or you want to have certain topics created like I was mentioning, right? So if someone is asking something on coding language or help telling it to generate certain code, so you can create such topics here. So those topics can be provided here. So when someone is asking related to those topics, it will straight away block that. Similarly, you have word filters, sensitive information. This is like I was mentioning about PII data. Okay, so there are certain inbuilt options available. So name, phone, email address. In the finance, you can see CVV, debit cards. So if someone is asking something related to this, you can straight away block this. Or if you still want to provide the data, you can just mask it. Okay, so that also option is also available. Instead of straight away blocking it, you can just mask the data and provide the response. Okay, and like you have contextual grounding, automated reasoning check. So these are the configurations available. So once you have created that, you can go back to your knowledge base and go to test, and under the test you can see the guardrail option. Mm, 1 second. So here you can see your guardrails. So you can just select that and it will get enabled. So once you have enabled, you can test it out. So that's how you configure your guardrails. Yeah, so any queries on this?
Now, I assume it is little complex for them to understand, but still, I think if you take the certain terminologies what Sai was mentioning, and take it back and do a little bit of self learning on these topics, whatever he has touched, it is straightforward, simple. As I mentioned, understanding those concepts are very important, but the heavy lifting can be done by any of the AI assistant coding tools for you. So, but understand the concepts, what guardrails mean, what an open search mean, what does a vector store mean. So look at that. These are very important concepts, but very simple, straightforward concepts as well. Sai, you may also see if there is a possibility to talk about. I do not know if the services are still available. Cloud9, Code Whisperer, Amplify, are they available for us?
No, Code Whisperer now it is like Amazon Q developer, so that is not available for now.
What about Cloud9?
Cloud9, I need to check. That is, it is available, but to give a KT, I mean, I will have to check with someone. So once they're available, maybe we can have that one.
How different is Cloud9 with Code Whisperer?
I mean, Cloud9 is for running your application like your IDE. So there you can just start coding instead of using your Visual Studio or say PyCharm like that.
But is there any intelligence into it? All
No,
or
no, no. There it is not. It's not there. But Amazon Q developer has an option. But since we don't have access for that, so it will not be available even via Cloud9.
Mhm. Understood. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any queries, team? Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I'll share. There are a few more topics here, like your fine tuning of models, custom models available. I mean, due to time constraint, I couldn't cover all of these points, but nevertheless,
Is
I'll
there a
share.
sample application, Sai, which you can show that this is a sample application where how it is calling a model?
With Bedrock integration, you're saying?
Yeah, Bedrock or anything, any model, like a simple hello world that it is a sample application. I upload one document, it is connected to Bedrock model. This is what it has happened. Like that. Any sample application code that you can show.
Yeah, 1 minute. I'll just log into that one.
Yeah. If you do not have at this point of time, it might be helpful. We can have another session tomorrow where you can showcase a simple small application uploading a document and talking to that document with the model, which you can create certain diagrams and show this is how it works. If not today, maybe tomorrow same time we can just log in, and then you can just walk through one application, very simple application. That is what my request was from to Saujanya and all, that we would want a simple application integrated with a Gen AI. This you have explained the concept and how to use in the console, but a sample application will be helpful.
Okay, I think we can do that. I'll check with my team, and then we can take that up, because I again have to start the server, and I mean it will
Correct,
take.
correct. So tomorrow when you come, just imagine this, that you are going to show that this is in a theory, in a simple diagram, that I will be up like a flow diagram, that I'll be uploading the document. This document gets chunked, then embedded and put it in the open search vector store, and this is the front end that I'll be calling, and the front end is built in this React or Angular or Streamlit, whatever it is. Just show that flow and then show the application, and then you can say from here I have configured the Bedrock, and Bedrock is calling some XYZ model, and through that model the answer is coming back to the user.
Okay, sure, Nilesh, that we can take it up.
That's
Today's
it,
agenda
nothing else
was
tomorrow.
to
And any
cover.
questions the team may have from today's session, they will ask the questions tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, sure, done.
Okay, sure. Anything else, guys, that you would
Hmm.
want to ask?
Neelesh sir and Sai sir, I have a small doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this go ahead.
I don't know more about it, but I have a doubt, so I am asking. I know ChatGPT and Gemini other AI tools use an LLM to and they will be training their models. So from AWS, can we get any LLM so that we can integrate to our apps like that? Anything? I don't know more about it. I am asking just.
So the answer is again, maybe Sai, you may also add on top of it. That is what he was explaining, that AWS has something called Bedrock, a platform for all the models, including
Okay.
including your GPT, Cohere, or the DeepSeek, or I do not know DeepSeek is there or not, but I'm just taking some examples. All hundreds of models are available on AWS Bedrock. Now, your application, if it wants one of the model, there is a way that he was showing that either you can call via APIs, or maybe some of the models can be integrated via an SDK.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Sai, you may want to add something.
Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, these are the models that I was mentioning about.
Ah,
ChatGPT, GPT-4, they are all OpenAI models. That is not available as part of AWS ecosystem. Gemini that you mentioned, that is also from Google. It is not of AWS. So apart from that, we have these serverless models available. Amazon's in-house models like Nova, and there's Claude modules 3.7, 3.5 Sonnet V2. So these are the models that I was referring to, which you asked. So,
yes.
These are
At a
also
time, we can integrate all that models, sir,
I mean,
or any one or anyone.
it depends on use case. If you're building one chatbot or something, right? So I think like one model would be sufficient for you to use.
So to better put it, right, so it depends on what kind of application features that you're building, right? For example, in an application you would want to do a smaller task like summarization, right? And you
Yes.
want to do a parallel task similarly to build a chatbot. So to keep your performance high, you could have one smaller model. It's called SLM. So like how you have large language models, you have something called as SLMs, called small language model. So that is your Nova series, right? Nova Lite and all of that. So you could have, so which are like smaller models which can run these smaller tasks like summarization and all of that, which will keep your cost lower, and while you can parallelly run bigger tasks using this larger language model. So it depends on how you want to build it. It's these are the models that are available, so it's up to you. How do you want to mix and match, and how do you want to build it? How do you want to optimize it for your performance?
Multiple models can be integrated to your application. Absolutely no issues. If you look at the one to the fourth column, video, right? Text vision, text video, right? So each of the model is expert in some of the areas. So vision is like you are giving certain documents or certain images to it. It is trying to extract the data from the image. The Cloud Opus 4.1 is excellent in that one, but maybe the Cloud A 3.5 Haiku is not. It's only in text. So once that vision model extracts the data from the Cloud Opus, extracts the data, you can give it to Cloud 3 3.5 Haiku to process the text. So like that, you can create a pipeline. But yes, your application at a time can talk to n number of models. There is absolutely no stoppage practically or technically, but practically whether it is really need or not is something that you should think of. Is that right, Kiran and Sai?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Neelesh.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
But that doesn't mean if the model is not in the AWS Bedrock, doesn't mean you cannot use GPT-4 or Gemini. Your application can still integrate with Gemini and GPT-4, but not via AWS Bedrock, but directly you can call its API key, and you can use it. It's a simple
Okay.
straightforward integration. You don't have to go to AWS Bedrock. The reason why we are giving you AWS Bedrock is it will make your life easier to see. All of these models are available in Hugging Face is another platform like AWS Bedrock, or there are many other places that you can connect to. But AWS Bedrock is making your life easy in integrating it. Very easy to integrate. You can integrate this Cloud Sonnet 4 without AWS Bedrock as well. But there will be a lot of code that you have to write. But with AWS Bedrock, they're bringing it everything under that one single umbrella to help you out.
And not just that, right? So when you go beyond, when you expand your scope beyond Bedrock, the infrastructure also plays a bigger role here, right? So it also depends on how much control you need over your model. So you need to support it via your you have to give GPUs, you have to run it on an EC2 or an SageMaker. Right? There's a lot of things that comes into picture. So Bedrock makes your life easier by keeping it serverless.
Correct.
So it's more event-driven architecture where you just need to whenever you need a request, so you just hit it and you get a response, right? So it's pretty simple.
So to run these models, there is a GPU required. CPUs are not sufficient, so GPUs are required. So if you are sending, say, 1,000 gigabytes of data, one GPU might not be sufficient. So you need to add additional GPUs manually if you are not using AWS. But with AWS, what it does is you don't care about how many GPUs are required. You just give your input data and tell I need this model, and AWS will take care of how many GPUs are required to process the data and give it back along with a big bill. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But these are all interesting things, guys. I would request you guys to spend good amount of time on this one, reading about it. And it is very easy. It might think it is difficult, but I'm telling you, it is much easier than any other programming language also. If you have learned any programming language, this Gen AI concepts are pretty much easy, and AWS kind of Bedrock kind of a tools are making our life much more easier to access, connect. The major thing for us is to come up with a problem statement. I think the solution is straightforward. As I mentioned, go to GitHub Copilot, Cursor, or any other free AI assisted tools and clearly give a prompt that I have AWS access. It will ask for a secret key and a, access key. These are the only two things that you should configure yourself in your environment file. Rest all the prompts that you give, entire integration will happen. You just give the documentation if that AI assistant code requires. Otherwise, it will automatically search for the right documentation. It will say, I have integrated. What's next? You need to give your AWS secret key and access key in an environment file, and rest all heavy lifting can be done by your AI assistant coding tools. I have done it myself. I have called AWS Nova model, and I have tried it. Really works. But behind the scenes, what all code is done, I know what the code is done, but I have not coded anything. So please give it a try. Okay, so tomorrow again 5 to 6 we will have this session, Sai, Kiran, but this time you just go one level down, as I requested a simple sample application from a web application, upload a PDF document, and with GenAI and without GenAI show how the two diagrams will look like, and the advantage of GenAI and the AWS Bedrock integration, and any model that you have connected, and you are running the application and showing it to us. That's it.
Yeah, sure, Nilesh. Yeah.
I assume that will help. Any other thing, team, that you would want to suggest for tomorrow's session? Okay, fine. Thanks, Sai. Thank you, Kiran, for the time. Kiran, just out of this context, Saujanya messaged me saying that our accounts should be available.
Hmm.
So how do we know that our accounts, we are able to access it or not? Any suggestion here?
Hey, these are this account was just for today's workshop, so we thought of including hands-on, but I think there was enough to cover in terms of
Correct.
the console itself, so we couldn't get into it. So probably for these accounts we can use for the demos. The actual workshop accounts will be given probably very close to the
Event.
event day, because we only have the 72-hour restriction,
Correct.
right? So that's why.
Correct. So, so the accounts which Saujanya is creating, those
Hmm.
accounts will be. So there are two sets of accounts you are talking, right, Kiran?
Yeah. Correct.
So the accounts which Saujanya is going to give, is that the practice accounts are, or are those the ones for the hackathon accounts?
No. For now, it's mostly practice accounts. These are just random workshop accounts that we have. So, which we thought maybe the team can follow up as Sai takes them through the hands-on. But again, like I said, today we had a lot of things to cover on the console itself. So, because at least tomorrow when we're doing this hands-on, probably they'll know how to navigate the services at least, right? So that's the agenda.
I'm just also asking Saujanya if these are the ones which are for the events, or this is just for the hands-on. So let us see what she responds to. But if so, team, I was expecting two sets of accounts, one for the hackathon and one for the play around for like from today to 13th. Which Kiran is also on the same page that we'll get two sets of accounts. I'll follow up to see if we get two sets of accounts. If we get it, then you can play around from today until 13th, and those accounts will be gone, and from 14th onwards you will get new set of accounts which you can use specifically for the hackathon only, and those accounts will be there only for 72 hours. Okay, so I'll keep you posted on the chat. In the meanwhile, please read about the GenAI stuff and come prepared so that it will be easy for you to understand tomorrow.
Sir, will you be mailing us? I mean, regarding this accounts and.
Yes, I will put it in the WhatsApp group. Our
Okay.
group is there, right? In that I'll put it.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Thank you, Sai, and thank you, Kiran. Yes. Any question?
But what is the last date for submission of our project?
So 14th to 15th is our hackathon. 14th midnight it starts, and 15th 23:59 it finishes. So you need to submit your PPTs and the GitHub code before 15th August 23:59. That is 11:59 p.m. Clear?
Okay. Yes.
16th is the presentations. So the account should still be valid. Your EC2 should be still running on 16th, so that you can show the demo on the EC2 or wherever you have deployed. The accounts will still be there. The EC2 will still run. The accounts will expire on 16th night, 23:59. So your presentation should all be done. And after that, you can download your code, but the accounts will be gone on 16th night. Okay. Yeah, further questions, please post it on the WhatsApp group. I'll help you to respond there. Thank you, Sai. Thank you, Kiran. Look forward to meet you tomorrow again. Bye-bye.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.